At what age did you first realise that people think differently to you? In terms of maybe politically, maybe in terms of just the way they view life, they're more emotional, perhaps they're more logical, perhaps they just have had different experience in life, which of course they will have done, that they see things differently. Your friends, your family, close people to you that you might just have as acquaintances. Do you care about what they think? There will be some that you do, there will be some that you don't, right? So why then do you care so much about the celebrities and what they think? Now you might not, and that's probably more healthy, but there's a growing trend at the moment across the internet, certainly, because celebrities are so much more accessible now, that people and the fans need to know their views on things that are politically prevalent or social issues and these kind of things. And it's kind of that expectation, that almost necessity to know what your idols or your people you look up to, your heroes, think about things. And on the one hand, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's always nice when your heroes are doing good things for the community, are doing good things for the world, and they aren't juxtaposed to your own personal values. Certainly when it's artists, it's nice to know that, you know, creatively, they're doing things you like, and also in life, they're doing things you like. Michael Sheen lives really near here. Actually saw him the other day. Didn't speak or anything, but anyway, that's a side point. He's doing really good things for Wales at the moment, and it's really nice because it's someone that you like, and it's someone that's doing really, really good things, and so that's wonderful. But equally, there are artists out there, say for example, Tokyo Pil is a really, really beloved artist, but he's done some really horrible things, or, you know, AC/DC, Motley Crue, these kind of people. While they are great artists, their views and their actions are, well, let's just say they're problematic, right? Resultantly, this expectation now that, you know, all your idols, your stars have to align with your personal values just is a little bit strange. It seems very, very rigid. It seems like a very difficult way to live, to be honest. If you're constantly having to check up on the interviews that your idols are doing, constantly having to check up to be happy yourself, basically with someone else that doesn't know you, it's parasocial, it's a little bit strange. And it's also coming to the point now where people will drop an entire artist that at one point they loved, and listen, it happens. If you did find out and you're a big AC/DC fan and you found out some of the things they've done, you might view them differently. That's completely normal, like that's okay, but it's this level of obsession, this parasocial obsession, which is a little bit psychotic when it comes to cancellation. And cancellation is one of those things that's become more and more common now, and it's not a bad thing to keep people in check that are extremely privileged. A lot of these artists, a lot of these famous people are disconnected. You know, unless you are someone that does enjoy more kind of underground, lower level media, the people that you idolize are likely going to be famous or certainly significant in some way, right? Now, are they necessarily going to be worrying? Let's use the example of Harry Styles. That's the first person that comes to mind, right? Is he going to feel the effects of, like, the cost of living crisis, for example? Is he going to feel the effects of injustice in the legal system to minorities close to home? He might feel the effects of both. But it's more likely, considering his societal situation and his financial situation, he's probably not going to experience either of them in particularly large droves. So his issues are going to be different to yours. And if you are experiencing those issues on the regular, then you can't expect him to have a similar view to you. His experience is so different, so disconnected to yours, that expect him to have a similar point of view, while it is still possible, is also just very unlikely. He's likely not thinking about these things. You also need to ask yourself, the media that you interact with as a person is probably very different to the media that these other people are interacting with. Bill Burr said it the other day, that, you know, asking celebrities or well-known people about their views on politics or their views on media or current events is a bit strange, because a lot of people these days don't actually interact with the news in the traditional sense. People don't turn on the 9 o'clock news anymore as much. People don't listen to the radio and hear the news every hour as much. People don't even necessarily use news sites anymore. A lot of friends will say, like, oh yeah, did you see the news? And like, well, no, because they don't watch the news. So we talk about the news, but they've seen it through social media rather than watching Al Jazeera or reading on, websites and stuff, because they've seen it on Twitter or they've seen it on Instagram or seen it through memes and then maybe done a little bit of research on the side afterwards. And again, that's completely fine, but expecting people to have a really informed take, especially these celebrities that are, say, maybe known for making music, why are they going to have a well grounded political analysis on the Israel Palestine conflict? Or maybe the new US tariffs they've built up? You're expecting someone that plays the drums to know about complex geopolitical events? Really? And yeah, there are people that do. Obviously, there are people that interact with things that are, maybe not directly in their field. People like Gary Lineker. He's obviously a footballer, now pundit, media person in general, but he's very politically involved, right? And there are people that put themselves into that position. But if they do it like voluntarily, it's okay. But expecting people that aren't in that position to then have these views, and then they must correlate to yours, is absurd. And expecting this seems to be a problem that we're having more and more. The more accessible people are, the more kind of entitled people are to hearing their views, despite the fact that they themselves probably don't have very complex or serious views on a lot of things. You're seeing more and more this reliance on other people to guide you through life. So your celebrity likes this thing, well, then you must like it, and it's this idolization is a scary thing because it leads to people, one, being obsessive, as mentioned earlier, but also being reliant on someone else to tell them what to think almost. And obviously, anti-establishment is something that's talked about a lot on this channel. Some of you might be sick of it, but having this reliance constantly on external factors to guide you through your own life is a little bit strange. Now, it's not to say that you can't think for yourself, and that if you do follow what other people say, your idols say something that doesn't sit well with you, that you can't be upset with it or you can't feel a certain way about it. But it's the reliance on them and the fact that, maybe you can't enjoy them afterwards seems a bit fickle, considering that they are just living through their own experience. They see things a certain way and likely are not informed on it, in the same way that a lot of us aren't informed on a lot of things. Expecting this to be these kind of like super informed, super knowledgeable people about things that they have no real connection to most of the time is strange. If it's something like, don't know, you're asking, again, let's use the example of Harry Styles, how Spotify works and their inner workings and, how much money he gets out of that deal and all that kind of stuff, then that's something he can answer. But then asking Harry Styles, so Harry, what do you think about the Scottish referendum for independence that could be coming up within the next 15 years? Why? Why is he going to know about that? We need to get back to a point, or ideally you're at this point, that other people's views, especially celebrities, those that are disconnected from you, and you're connected to them through music, that it just stays that way, that it's through the music. And if there is something else that's voluntary, that they do, that you like, brilliant. And if they do things that you don't like, and you feel a certain way about it, that's, again, fine. But expecting them, having this level of entitlement for them to agree with you or be the same way as you, especially if they're not a lifestyle celebrity, is a little bit strange, and you need to give their head a bit of a wobble. Alright, that sounded really snide, so apologies about that. But yeah, be interesting to hear what you have to say about this. So if you have any thoughts on this, then leave it down there. And if you don't have any thoughts on it and just want to get on with your day, equally fine. If you liked it, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. And yeah, well, if you enjoyed it enough and want to hear more rambling, more off the wall, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. commentary videos, then give it a subscribe. That was a really long outro. Thanks for watching. Alright, what's that? Cheers. Bye-bye.